If you can't even find a job at McDonald's or Walmart, wow, we live in a society. I really don't think that any job at this point is safe from AI. I think the American dream at this point, I think it's already been gone, but I think at this point, the American dream is officially gone. So we've had to deal with all kinds of things, recessions, health crises, everything under the sun. We had to deal with everything just as human beings living in this world. And now something that's going to end up helping humans a lot is really going to end up hurting a lot of humans, at least in the short term. So jobs as we know it, I cannot think of one job. I really can't think of one job that will not be replaced by AI. And before people start typing the jobs they think can't be replaced, we'll get to that in a minute. But to quote the Fiverr CEO, he literally said, AI is coming for all your jobs. Heck, it's coming for my job. Sam Altman, the CEO of OpenAI, which is ChatGPT, said that pretty soon AI agents are going to be able to routinely be able to do work that college level people can do. So of course the layoffs are here. Klarna has already cut 40% of their people. And really what I'm looking at right now is how this whole AI thing is going to work, at least in corporate, is going to start from the bottom and work its way up. Now, interns, entry-level employees, people who are doing the more routine work just so they can be adjacent to the strategy work are in trouble. I mean, companies are really looking around saying, why would I pay an intern? As a former consultant, when you first get into consulting, your job is pretty much shadowing people and getting paid a ton of money. And when I say shadowing, you're doing a ton of work. You're doing a lot of the content generation type of work. But nowadays, if I am in middle management in consulting, I can literally set up an AI agent to do that and not have to pay them $100,000 a year. Like you don't have to pay an AI agent $100,000 a year, and you don't have to manage them, and you don't have to deal with them, and you don't have to say like, I don't like Gen Z people and I hate dealing with them. You don't have to deal with any of that. All you have to do is just get an agent set up, put it on autopilot. It's not going to talk back, at least on the human side, because AI, of course, is not perfect. It's going to have miscommunications just like people. But the perception is that AI is never going to make mistakes. And what's more attractive to a manager in consulting than something that never makes mistakes? But at the end of the day, this grunt work that a lot of entry-level consultants, entry-level people in every field do that's going to get replaced by AI is necessary for these people to develop. And you're going to be looking at something that in 10 years, in 5 years, it could happen in 3 to 5 years, you're going to see a huge gap in skill in people who entered the workforce around now, maybe last year or in the coming years, and then people who entered the workforce 10 years ago. You're going to literally be losing recipes because we live in a society right now where I'm seeing kids that are 15, 16 years old that can't find jobs at McDonald's. They can't find jobs at Wendy's. They can't find jobs at Walmart. It's like so difficult these days for everybody to get a job. So what you're going to really see is just stunted growth. I mean, people are going to have less work experience, less life experience. They will have put in less effort in school, less effort at work. And I can already tell that, Gen Alpha, by the time Gen Alpha gets into work, people are going to be absolutely annoyed with them. But I also would kind of push back on that because I think by the time Gen Alpha gets into the workplace, they're probably going to be so good at working and doing high level work, like with AI, like augmenting their work with AI, that it's probably going to be better than anything we're seeing right now. But as we're looking at society right now, the way most people are using AI, they're probably getting a less than perfect result or output from AI than they would from a normal person, but their eyes are like money eyes, like completely Mr. Krabs money eyes, because they're seeing that people can be replaced. Even if it does a worse job, people can be replaced with AI right now. So over the next couple of years, society is going to be losing out on all of the new ideas that young people could be bringing in, that young people could be doing to basically push everything in society forward. We're going to be losing those recipes because AI, I'm someone who works with AI hours and hours every day, and it's not really that good at coming up with completely novel ideas that are just like show ready. Like you're not going to get the same level of idea from AI, from an LLM, that you would get from an actual person. I just still haven't seen that. I still haven't seen that. It's really good at executing, really good at taking what you want it to do and completing it. But as far as like generating new things, which is what I think is the biggest benefit we get from bringing in young people into work, is that they bring perspectives that most people that are already there just haven't thought of. And then eventually we're going to be doing a deep dive on the ethics of it and seeing what AI was trained on, and seeing that there are probably huge gaps that it just doesn't have a good grasp of or doesn't understand. And therefore, we're losing out on a lot of things that we could be contributing to society. And when you have young people that can't find work and older people who are getting kicked out, like they're getting shown the door, you're going to create a huge gap in society. No longer is it going to be about land ownership. Land ownership is like so year 500 or 2000 or whatever you want to say it. And I'm 2000, more like 500 than 2000 or maybe 1300. But land ownership is old news. These days, it's going to be about technology. It's going to be about how much AI you can control, how much SaaS products you have. What do you have to offer as far as our digital world? Do you have a bunch of cryptocurrency? Who knows? Maybe all the money in the bank will disappear. Who knows? Maybe it's all about crypto now, but it's going to be something different than land, and it's going to have something to do with technology, because it'll go from companies paying individuals to companies paying individuals that have AI assets or agents that can do the work that individuals used to do for half the price. But guess what? That person that has multiple agents, say you have 10 agents or say you have 20 agents, you're getting paid $20K each from that agent, which would be very, very low for a lot of these, white collar jobs. But if you have 20 of them, you're making pretty good money. So I could really see society moving in that direction. And I know a lot of people say like, oh, we're being dramatic. It's not going to be a feudalistic society. We're going to bounce back. You could very well be right. But when you look at things like wealth in the country, you got Amazon, you got OpenAI, you got Google, and you got Meta, and they're pretty much leading the AI charge. Of course, you got Anthropic with Claude, you got Perplexity, but Perplexity isn't even profitable. They just keep getting donated to. OpenAI isn't profitable either, I'm pretty sure, but they will be. They will be soon. But you have all of these companies, 5 or 6 companies that are pretty much pushing this whole thing forward and could very well just, have a complete cap on the market. And it's pretty similar to like the whole internet thing of like, if your company, or we're really to a point where people are just starting to like get on the Instagram and get on the social media with their businesses and understand that like that's a key contributor to being a successful business. And just as a lot of people are starting to understand that now, it's like, if you're not using AI in your business, you're probably getting left behind. So at this point, like I said, you have these couple businesses, these couple of huge companies, like billion-dollar, trillion-dollar companies, are controlling this thing that everybody is going to need. You could see how the problem can start to arise when you have this few resources as far as these few companies and everybody needs it. So I want to talk now about like the careers that I think are going to be affected by AI. And I think it's literally every career, it's literally every career. And of course, your white collar jobs like consulting, where you're making PowerPoints and you're giving suggestions, and that's literally sort of like a robotic kind of task, but that's something that can be replaced. A lot of your white collar jobs like accounting and tax experts. I literally had a conversation with ChatGPT and it gave me like all these loopholes for taxes yesterday, where like literally things that I would have never thought of that ChatGPT is helping me with now. So all these things can be replaced, and it's just going to kind of go down the line. As the Fiverr CEO said, like it could technically be a CEO. I don't know if I would want it to be my CEO, but it could technically be a CEO, especially, you kind of go years into the future to see how much it'll evolve. So that's possible. And a lot of people have been saying like, if you have a trade like electrician or plumber or everything like that, yeah, those things will probably be at the last, probably be on that last rung of things that are going to get replaced. But we do have robots, people. We do have robots that can do things like build cars. They can do things like surgery. We have robots that can do a lot of things. And we also have things where we kind of fuse people with robots, sort of like what is that, an android or a cyborg? Sort of like a cyborg. We already can implant things into people. We already can do things like put contacts on that, like literally, I saw this the other day. You can put contacts on that literally allow you to see when you blink your eyes so you don't lose vision. So like you have to always be locked in. We have all these things that can alter how we do things and make it easier for us to do things. So basically, imagine you have a clogged up sink, right? And you have a subscription to a company that offers a software that allows you to be your own plumber. You get something in the mail, you got your goggles, you got your gloves, and you literally cut on your goggles. You use the tools that this company sent you. Your hands just literally just get taken over. You do this, your hands move around. You pick up the tools, your hands are moving things for you. And like you're literally just watching this, and it's like a graphic that tells you, turn this way, stop, like all this kind of stuff. Like you're going to be able to do things like that as an average person. And I think that can happen a lot sooner than people think. Like there are a ton of ways that you can pretty much accomplish a lot of the trades, a lot of the white collar jobs, a lot of the blue collar jobs, things like if we wanted to still dig into mines, robots can do that. Of course, robots can drive trucks and do long hauls. In fact, it'll probably be safer, and CEOs will come out with all kinds of data saying that, we've reduced accidents because these long haul trucks aren't getting into accidents and they don't get tired and they don't need to stop to use the bathroom and they're always on time. There are a ton of things that AI can replace. And even when you think of being a content creator, there are AI content creators. Timbaland just signed. I haven't even heard a Timbaland song, at least that I know of, for years. But anyway, he signed an AI artist to his label. He signed an AI artist to his label. Like I said, there are AI influencers. There are people that are making a ton of money with YouTube channels where they literally have a faceless channel where the AI voice is just reading stuff off, and they're automating the process where it's literally making AI videos for them over and over and over again. And they're posting like 20 times a day. So there's literally nothing. It's called artificial intelligence for a reason. Will it ever hit the same as human intelligence? No, but when has quality ever been something to stop people from trying to cut costs? When has quality ever been something that stops? In this world where we have money and finite resources, quality is always second to cost. Now, the absolute last things I do see being replaced are things like therapists, things like teachers, things like that, where you can replace it with AI, but there's just sort of like a human touch. You think people have to sort of learn how to interact with humans when they're kids, and they probably want to interact with humans when they're in therapy. Now, a ton of people have used AI for therapy, and, it's decent results, but I still think that's something that's sort of like last on the docket for things that people are going to seek out aggressively to be replaced with AI. So yeah, pretty much see everything being replaced by AI, but what does that mean for us? Like, are we going to just all disappear? Are we all going to starve? Is this neo-feudalistic society going to hit like it did, and back in ancient China? Is it going to hit the same the way it hit in France and before the revolution? Is that going to be what we're going towards? Well, that could very well happen. We could also see some sort of universal basic income we've heard about that may happen, because like beyond that, there will be like a ton of people who are just rolling over in the streets, just croaking. Like at that point, like no one can find a job, can't work at McDonald's, can't work at Walmart, can't work at Pizza Hut, can't work at, in a white collar job. You can't drive trucks. You can't dig ditches. You can't do anything. At that point, like, you probably do have to have some sort of basic income, because if not, I mean, who knows? Who knows how you're going to survive? But is that basic income going to be enough for everybody to have fun and actually use AI? Probably not. Probably you're going to see a lot of people that are having fun, that are, vacationing and getting all the benefits of what AI can provide. And a ton of people are just going to just like have basic income to say like, okay, we're going to have the drones drop off like your food for the month. You don't really get to decide what it is, but enjoy, because AI is taking care of you. You should be happy. You should be grateful. While you're going to have your Elon Musk and equivalents of Elon Musk, I think you're going to see some trillionaires coming out of AI. You're going to have the equivalent of these folks, and they're going to be having a time of their life. Like the old life, like going for a walk in the park and, everything that they want to do, they're going to be able to do. And maybe we'll get something fun. Like maybe we'll have like an advanced version of a virtual reality where we're going to be able to just go on vacations from the safety of our own bed, put on some goggles, put on a helmet, and just like pretend that we have enough money to go on vacation and enjoy all the fun things in life. But if we don't head into that type of society, obviously the world that we look at, in 10 years is going to look really different than the world that we live in right now. It's just going to have to look completely different. There's going to have to be a ton of like AI maintenance jobs, AI training jobs, and there are a lot popping up, but there's going to have to be a ton more jobs that are directly related to AI, where you're going to have to babysit it, or you're going to have to do something, or who knows what that'll look like. But obviously the alternative, next to like half of the society, or 90% of society being like basically barely making it by, is there's just going to have to be AI jobs, specifically AI jobs. So how are we going to survive this? I mean, first off, say your prayers, because some things are just, it just is what it is. But beyond that, I would just say just learn as much as you can, learn as much skills as you can, learn as much about AI and how it works, because maybe that AI job will pop up for you. And if you know about it, you know about AI, you'll be able to take advantage of it, and you won't be one of the people who has to go on vacation from your bed in a VR headset. Maybe you just learn as much about AI as you can. Try to monetize it, try to own it, try to do something before it's too late. If you're starting a business, it doesn't have to be an AI business. It can literally be a business that does something that we all do, except just leverages AI, or is automated in some way, or is just better. You provide a better service because you're using AI. That's what you should be looking for, because everybody's starting like an AI automation business, which making people a ton of money, like $20,000 a month, $40,000 a month sometimes. But eventually these people are going to get replaced by OpenAI and Claude, Anthropic. They're all going to get replaced when these companies come out with AI agents that aren't charging these companies $10,000 a month and $8,000 a month and $15,000. They're going to be charging people like $5,000, $4,000, a couple $100 a month in the future. So these people are going to get replaced. So it doesn't have to be centered around AI. Come up with a strong business idea, strong business that is augmented with AI. And I usually don't even go down this lane, but I really think it's probably important in the next couple of years to stay up to date on what your politicians and representatives are doing. Like, are they making sure that people are able to benefit from AI? Are they making sure that people, like kids, are literate with AI? Like, make sure that these politicians aren't going to be able to sneak this by us. Because if even politicians aren't really going to help people, at the end of the day, if you're up to date on those things, you kind of know that the help isn't coming, and you know how to prepare accordingly. So I would probably stay up to date with that. But as I said, the American dream is pretty much done. Now, there could be a new American dream that pops up. I'm not sure where it's going to pop up into, but maybe AI is the currency that we have that'll make America, rich. Maybe AI is the equivalent to oil that Dubai has. Maybe, AI is going to make the US a really rich society, and people just kind of get the proceeds of it. But that's just not the type of society that we live in, so I wouldn't bank on that. So the American dream, as we thought, is gone. We kind of already thought that. We kind of already know that, but AI doesn't help things. And people, stay up to date on what's happening in your industry. Try to figure out how you can find out a way to make money without working. I know that sounds crazy. I know it sounds crazy, but try to figure out how you can get money coming in without you having to go and clock into a job, because it's becoming harder and harder to do these days. If you can't even find a job at McDonald's or Walmart, wow, we live in a society at that point. We live in a society. If you can't even get a solid job at Walmart, at that point, you probably want to save your money and make sure that you kind of know what's coming down the road. Now, AI isn't only taking our jobs. Ladies, it's taking your men. If you want to find out how men are getting swept off their feet by AI these days, check this video out right here.